imagine how rich the guy is who invented ready ice?
Oh, yeah.
That's like the wedding I did for a guy. He had a couple of different companies like that he founded, and they were like, it wasn't that one, but it was like that. It was like, you're kidding me. I don't usually think like about somebody invented that company, started it, you know, and now they're a gazillionaire living in whatever misery. Yeah, that'll learn you to be a millionaire. all us poor people say, yeah, and I bet you're miserable as heck.
Well, the study did come out last year that said that it was a pretty big study that showed that after $75,000, happiness did not go up.
Really?
No, that was the break point.
No, really?
Yeah, everybody was like, I want more money, I want more money, I want more money.
Yeah.
They were judging levels of happiness.
Oh my goodness.
Levels of money.
No kidding.
Happy. And it came out and it said after $75,000, happiness started going down, and it just kept going, and it never.
Oh my
after
goodness.
People hit 75,000.
Yeah.
And they got unhappy, and it just kept going. So the moral of the story is after 75,000,
quit.
Stop, man. There's no more happiness after that.
Yeah.
It goes worse.
That's funny.
Well, they said, that it was one of those things where they felt like there's a couple of factors. One was, that it takes a certain amount of money to be able to run a household and have, things.
What you need, yeah.
Your needs taken care of, but after 75,000, it's all about buying things more than it is about taking care of needs, and things are never going to get you. You think it's going to be that boat, but then boat doesn't do it.
Yeah.
You think it's going to be that bigger house, but then you realize, wow, that house is bigger. It's got more problems than the house.
Yep.
Well, maybe not the new one, but after 5 years.
Yeah.
After 5. It becomes the other house.
Yeah. That's funny. 70,000, huh? Okay. 75. Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that puts it within reach, yeah.
Well, no, and it was really a plateau from about, I think it was somewhere around the mid-50s to that point. It was they were pretty much the same happiness. It was like just, and then it kind of leveled off, and then after 75, it actually started.
It went down.
Going back down.
Oh, my goodness. But of course, we all say, oh, that would not happen to me.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying right now in my head. Yeah, well, that's all those people.
Well, it's all relative, too.
Yeah.
So, I think it all depends on how much debt you might have.
Yeah, true. And a whole bunch of other stuff.
What you're spending, what your budgets are, because, I just saw yesterday the U.S. Department of Money guys.
Whichever one it was.
They came out with the average debt per household.
Oh, yeah.
And they said that they broke it down on 8 by 8 groups. So in the mid-50s, it's $131,000 is the average debt that someone has. And then it starts to decline, but they feel like those that are 50 that are in that category at this point, it might just, used to it would go up, they'd get into debt and then start paying it off, but they feel like the debt structure, the people have accepted that, and it's going to just continually just kind of rise out somebody's life. Yeah. Well, we're debt free, so it doesn't take much for us, and boy, it's pretty happy.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't need $76,000 to be happy.
Down there? I'm gonna walk a little bit.
No, not down there.
Tristan, come here. Let me say something. Don't go down in those rocks. You know what's in those rocks? Inside the rocks right there.
What's water?
And riprap. Water monkeys love these rocks. Snakes. That's where they live. Remember, we saw. It was about 2 years ago. I stepped on a moccasin.
Oh my goodness.
It was I was fishing on the bank, and there was rocks like this, and there was like this grass kind of in there, and you know, I had just cast and then I got this bite, so I was trying to get back to it, and I stepped in this hole in between these two rocks, and it just went squish. I was like, and I looked, and below my foot was a coiled up moccasin, but I must have had his head under my foot.
Oh my goodness.
So there I was. I'm like standing up. I was thinking, well, it can't get me. What am I supposed to do? I mean, how fast can he jump? You know, I mean, like, do I have to get like 4 feet away?
Yeah.
Quack, you know?
That's funny. Okay, so I'm thinking of switching to oil. I think I am going to switch to oil right here. So I'll sign off right. Hey gang, are we there? Okay, so let me help you out a little bit. This is the painting I just finished a few minutes ago. This is my third painting of the day. I'm now starting my fourth. So just for fun, just to help you catch up, that was the last painting of the day. All of them are small. I mean, this is, 16 by 20? That was this morning. No, 14 by 18. And here's the smallest one of the day. So I've done 3. Now I'm about to do a 20 by 30 inch painting. And let's get going. I can talk later. And again, this is going to be a largely warm scene. So I'm going to begin warm yellow orange. So I'm going to begin, as I always do, almost always, with a contrapunctal mark. Borrowing that term from music, contrapunctal mark. Counterpoint in music is when you have more than one melody going at a time that are related to completely different melodies, just related to each other. So that's sort of what this is. Contrasting image. That doesn't take long. My goal is to throw some beautiful chaos on the canvas. It's a little bit thick right there. It'll take too long to dry, so let me thin that out. My goal is to create a little bit of visual chaos, and then I'm going to start drawing really quickly. And I've got a lot of drawing to do because it's a complex scene. Dang. Very complex scene. I'll show you in a minute what I'm aiming for. Let me just start real quickly by trying to guess where my major lines are going to go. Here's what I'm painting. Beautiful, idyllic, all American, framed maybe something like that. Okay? So that's what I'm aiming for. And we'll see. We'll just see. So major lines. Here's a tree, maybe. Fence here. Gate, picket fence is what I really mean. Big tree way over here. One of the tricks that I use sometimes in many different mediums, including watercolor pencil is one of my favorite tricks to do this. The trick is when you have a very complex subject matter to draw, you draw it the first time in a very light color, which is what I'm doing here. Doing the drawing in orange and red. So that in subsequent layers you can come back and do the next drawing in slightly darker color, and then the lighter color that you used initially will, so to speak, disappear or fade from view. So that's a trick that I'm doing right now. I'm also going to do this trick, which is thinning out the thick, fat areas of acrylic paint so that it dries more quickly. Okay, so that drawing was in red and orange. My next drawing, then, I'm going to do in red, transparent red. Again, making adjustments all the time. Not putting your weight down on any of your first marks. Instead, I'm going to mix a little purple with this. Need it a little bit darker. I painted almost in this exact place, 10 feet away from here last night, pointing the opposite direction. And of course, while I was here, I took a number of sightings and photographs for other potential scenes, and this is one of the other potential scenes. Sometimes, like that little lamppost that I just drew right there, sometimes I will draw like more carefully than is warranted, more carefully than it deserves. I'll draw an object like that just as a marker, because it's identifiable. I can glance at that and say, oh yeah, that's a lamppost. When you're drawing this messy, I suppose you can imagine. It's amazing how many times I literally forget what it is that I've drawn, and I make mistakes and draw over things, redraw things and it would make mistakes because I don't recognize my previous markings. So something like that lamppost is just very readily identifiable. That just gives me a little bit of a visual anchor. Now, I still might move it, of course. Just because I draw it there, again, doesn't mean that it's going to stay there. As you can probably tell, so let me tell you again where I am. I'm in a village called East Beach, a new subdivision built in, I believe, all in the last 10 years. And I think the technical term for this kind of subdivision is called, at least by some people, called the new urbanism, new urban. Personally, I approve of the impulse very enthusiastically. because it's a reaction against the old-fashioned suburbanism. And I don't want to get all in a tither on you here, but it wasn't until my wife and I moved into this last subdivision that I began to realize what an evil thing subdivisions are. Here's why. Subdivisions are designed to keep neighbors apart. And that's what, and the homeowners associations, by the way, are designed to do very much the same thing. Well, this new urbanism is kind of a realization on the part of developers that, oh, you know what, that wasn't a very good idea, was it? It's really better if people are friends. So anyway, I'm a big fan of the new urbanism. Hey, James, you there? You coming? Oh no, you go right ahead.
Sounded like you were broadcasting to YouTube.
I am broadcasting, but that's all right. They all know that people come by, and so that's all right. I just feel free to look around and come back later and visit.
What have you got going now? Acrylics?
Yeah, this is acrylic. Yeah, the acrylic understatement, and I'm doing this scene right here. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, okay.
I mean, the whole
And
neighborhood.
you got the easel out now.
Yeah, the small one. Exactly. This is a little bit of a large canvas for this easel.
So you're mixing the colors on the canvas?
Yes,
now?
exactly. Yeah,
You
exactly.
do that for the whole painting?
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. Well, no. Late in the last stage of the painting process, I do mix kind of like traditional mix oil paints on my palette. Yeah, but up until the last stage, no. You're right. All the mixing is actually on the canvas,
Wow.
which I like very much. Yeah. So this is I'm really just in the initial acrylic layer. This, come on. That's not very good, is it? Oh, you know what? There's supposed to be a clamp in here. I just remembered. Hang on, folks. So this is a Soltech easel, and it's a pretty good thing, but one minor design flaw is that this tends to slide down, and your canvas can slide out. So I've got a clamp just for that purpose. Maybe that'll fix it now.
Is that a truck in purple there?
Yes,
Which vehicle is that on the road?
The gray one up there.
Oh, the like way down there, the pickup truck?
No, it's this one with the Chevy right here.
Oh,
One
close
here.
to.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
okay.
And it is hard to tell.
Okay, so that's the sidewalk, right? Okay.
Yeah, there's the sidewalk.
Now I can.
Now it's gonna get clearer. Right, all of a sudden, right now, it's gonna get a little bit more obvious because I'm gonna do some white, and hopefully it'll get just a little. Some of the stuff will get a little bit more obvious. And I say to my students, that are watching, I say to them all the time, you put down your first marks, but you don't trust them. You don't believe in them. You don't put your weight on them. Do you know what I mean? You give yourself lots of permission to change your mind later in the process. That that line's off. I need to move that one and move that one. Whereas beginner painters often tend to lock in. They'll put a mark down and then sort of die on that hill, as I like to say. And so that's not the right way to go. Hello.
Loving.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you.
I've never been in this neighborhood since it's been redone. I grew up in Norfolk.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So
Quite the change. Just a little different than it used to be.
like these houses in there, the people would park on the road and then walk that walkway to get to
They have garages on the back side, and then the alley over there. So this is like a little circle.
So just throwing down a little bit of real quick white. Again, it really helps me identify.
Yeah. I mean, in actuality, anybody in the community can use the fire pit, but
A lot of crime in this neighborhood. You can tell somebody's trying to steal a car down the road there. When somebody just parked right there. I think I'm going to take that
this
car
is so
out.
gorgeous.
You won't be offended, Dad, if I take your Jeep Wrangler out of the painting, will you?
I thought you were gonna make it like with bigger tires.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Get for a price.
Absolutely.
We'll soup it up.
Yeah.
I'm just getting started here. Just
You're
getting started.
celebrities.
Oh wow, how fun.
Yeah. So just to the early messy stages. You can hardly. Yeah, good. You can hardly tell what's what. I can hardly tell what's what.
That's great.
Yeah, good. Were you golfing today?
We went out to the Navy base. It was fun.
They let Coast Guard guys on the Navy base.
They do.
As long as you don't tell them anything.
We're not too offended by it.
Great.
Yeah.
The auction is tomorrow, so this,
Oh, we're definitely gonna come and
this
hang out,
may
take a
be
peek.
one of the ones that he offers.
Yeah, might be. I just hope I can do a good job.
It begins at 4, but then the auction begins at 5.
Okay.
And it's very fun. The auction is great. And they serve wine, so.
Yeah.
We'll definitely come.
So don't bring your own.
Definitely stop by.
Gorgeous. Thank you so much.
Oh, it looks great.
Paints with both hands.
Yeah, yeah. My claim to fame. Paint with 2 hands. There's a yellow house. There's a green house. And that's about it. That's as far as we need to go.
Most of your paintings oil?
Most of my paintings are like this: acrylic underneath and oil on top.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, was that how the ones
Yep.
that I saw you doing over there? You'd started them like this?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yep. They all started the same way.
Oh,
Yep, acrylic underneath, transparent acrylic. Huge distinction. Important distinction.
Now that's because you thinned it down, or
Yep, because I
they're-
add medium to it.
Oh, to all those pans already? Do they already have medium in it?
Exactly. They're
Oh.
already pre-mixed, about 50-50, half medium and half paint,
Oh, okay.
roughly speaking. Okay, what next? I guess I'm going to do a little bit more glazes to help me figure out again. There's a yellow house. Again, these colors here, they're not even intended to be realistic. They're just markers.
Right, to lay in your...
Yeah, so I can figure out what's what. Like here's a roof. That'll help me if I make that gray. Here's another part of a gray roof. And there's a house in between that I completely missing.
Just that little roof.
There's
it
a
looks
board,
like,
yeah.
Oh, you see.
Whoops. And it doesn't go there. I just painted the front of that house gray.
Heck, I see several houses.
Yes.
that are- all you
Yeah,
see
exactly.
is the roof on
Exactly.
one of them and a couple
Yep.
of windows.
Yep. And then there's an orange house back here. Isn't that crazy? Hey, you're doing the right thing, James. I love to see your sketching. I teach painting and drawing, of course, and I'm telling my friends online all the time that if you want to be I can make you a much better painter in a year if you don't do a single painting. Are you listening to me? I can make you a much better painter a year if you don't do not even one painting. Instead of let's say you're an ambitious student painter, and your goal was to do 50 paintings this coming year. That's quite a few, of course, but I'll give you credit for hard work and diligence. So instead of 50 paintings that take you 6 hours each, do 2,000 sketches that take you 10 minutes each. At the end of 1 year of doing no paintings but 10,000 sketches, you'll be a much better painter than you would be if you did 50 paintings.
Right,
So-
when you're a beginner.
Yep. And you're not a beginner, but you're doing the right thing, man. You are absolutely doing the right thing. Just sketch.
I thought the next step I might take would just be to go black and white. With,
Yep.
because I was possibly thinking about trying watercolors. You
Yep.
know, I know there's a lot of layering and light over, and different techniques to get, like, say, water. You know, the
Right.
ripples in water. You know.
Right.
I know I think they paint the sky color first.
There's
and then
so
they
many
go
ways.
over with several different.
Yeah, there's so many
colors
ways to do it. Yeah.
Right, but I would probably spend quite a bit of time just doing that with black and monochrome.
Yes, you could. Exactly. Well, I
Getting
think you're doing the right thing, especially with those portrait sketches.
Hello. No,
Jane,
I'm in
your
East
friend I
Beach
met
right
today
now.
earlier while I was out painting and he was out sketching. As you hear, I'm a big fan of that approach. It's sketch, sketch, sketch. Man, sketch, sketch, sketch. And then somebody says to me, well, how often do you sketch? And I go, oh, dang, not nearly as often as I would like. But there's a reason for that. Now, I mean, I don't know. Never mind. Yeah, I sketch quite a bit. I've talked about it quite a bit in recent weeks with reference to this illustration job that I have going at home, where I'm doing all these figures, people drawings, and how I prepared for all of that sketching. Continue to prepare, have prepared for years, and continue to prepare for such work by doing figure sketches, figure studies. This has got to be one of the most complex picket fences I think I've ever drawn right here. It's okay, it's not too bad. It's two different levels. At first glance I was thinking it was several levels, but no, it's just two, so okay. I'll remove that feeling of panic out of my heart. It's like, oh my goodness, this thing's so complicated. Very nice. This sidewalk creates happily a very nice entree into the painting for the viewer, a path into the scene. Yeah. Now the lighting is not good right now. Fortunately, I have a good photograph of the scene from last night, so I think we're okay. Oh, and there's a big crepe myrtle right here. So far I'm actually staying fairly close to at least my second drawing, if not my first. Which is a bit of a surprise. Again, I need to stay alert to errors. Like, it's real easy to lock in to, once you've done a drawing, it's easy to rest and think you've got it. Well, I'm trying really hard not to do that, because I'm sure there are a number of corrections that still need to be made in the drawing. And yes, by the way, you do need to be careful if you try this with these pencils. They do bleed when you paint on top of them. So you don't want too many pencil lines, or you'll just get a big gray mess. Once you've sealed the pencil with a layer of anything, oil or acrylic, then it's permanent. Then it doesn't smear anymore. But that first layer, where you seal it, you can make quite a mess with it. So I want to be careful not to make a huge mess. Again.
Have you light? Like, was there sunlight coming through the when you
Yes.
started?
Yes, there was. There was. This lighting is not very good right now. But I took some pictures. I took one just a few minutes ago, and I also took some last night. So I do have some good photographs in my other phone, my backup phone, which turns out when I got my last phone, they didn't want my old one, and so I kept it, and I didn't realize, wow, it still works as a camera. So it turns into quite the benefit to have this other phone.
Yeah.
Even to me, even better than a traditional camera because of the size of the
Right.
the lens, portability, and the size of, not the lens, the size of the viewfinder. The screen.
Oh, right.
So you can
yeah.
just look right
Little
at.
screen.
Yeah, you can just look right at the. Okay, there's a big tree right here. I don't need to keep. Of course, I'm not going to try to keep all the trees that are here. All I want to do is.
Those way darker than the pines are.
Yeah,
real
yeah,
bright, and then
yeah. That's right.
Other twisty
That one
ones.
twisty one. You know what? I don't know. That twisty one might not make it might not make it, but if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's the only
It's a
kind
little
of
bit.
dark
It's a
one.
little bit busy,
Yeah,
and you
that's
can't include everything like in a scene like this. And it seems to me that one twisty tree might be a good one to edit out, maybe.
Most of your painting is it done down in Carolina locally?
Yes,
or you
yeah,
travel?
most of it is. I travel, a fair amount, but of course I paint in my hometown more than anywhere else.
Which is Raleigh?
Raleigh, yeah.
What kind of subject?
Cityscapes.
Oh, really? Is that your primary?
It is, yeah. It's what and live weddings, live events.
Oh, okay.
So yesterday morning I drove into Norfolk and did I mention to you did Brandy?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
My brother runs a bar right next
Oh, yeah,
to
yeah,
the.
that's what you said.
That's why I asked you.
Yeah. Oh, really? No,
He runs the
your
place
brother.
right next to the court building.
Ah, no kidding.
With the outdoor
Yeah.
bar. I think it's still closed off in plastic right now.
Oh, could be.
But yeah, I thought, wow, that'd be something if his place was in
Yeah.
the fixed painting.
Yeah.
So can you do like nature, landscape type
Yes,
stuff
I
too?
can, but I don't. I find the reason I do cityscapes, the reason I started, now I'm kind of known for cityscapes, so it's part of the market. But the reason I started is because I like the interplay between straight architectural lines
Right.
and the organic lines of nature,
See,
like
yeah,
this.
the
Organic,
variety.
all the trees are variety. So I
Okay,
find.
don't move a muscle, but turn your head this way. All right. Perfect.
You were here last year, right?
Yes, sir. I sure was.
Isn't it beautiful?
Good to be back. Yeah.
Well,
Good-
I kind
good
of
to be back.
understand what you mean. Like this, my primary thing has been portraiture.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never
Oh,
even
man.
drawn
Wow.
anything other than that. Really.
Good for you. Portraiture's the hardest thing, so if you can do that, you can do anything.
But I did, the marina with you first,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I tried the dunes, and that was.
You didn't like the dunes.
I had, it was a challenge to do
Yes.
all the little antennas and pipes and stuff on the boat. But
Yeah, yeah.
You're working late.
I'm taking a break in an hour for
6:30.
supper. Then I'll be back in the
Really?
dark. Yeah, oh yeah.
Where are you going to be in the dark?
Right here.
Right here?
I mean, I have a light on my
Can I come back and take a picture?
Absolutely. Yeah, take a picture in the dark. That's even more dramatic. You bet. You bet.
All right.
Please do.
Are most of the homes in the whole East Beach like about these size and architecture, except for the ones on
Some are bigger and some are.
the ones down on the beach themselves are the monster big
Yeah.
ones,
They're,
right?
they're the larger
Are they?
ones. And then
But there's some townhomes here, right?
Yeah,
There's some
townhomes.
condos and townhomes.
condominiums.
Oh, okay.
And,
I like these little smaller houses.
How long have you folks lived here?
We've lived here for 5 years.
Okay, so about half the length of the neighborhood, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But they're still building, I understand, 'cause, right?
Yeah,
Right?
not a whole lot, but
Yeah. Little by little? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful neighborhood, of course.
How
Just
far down
gorgeous.
does it go?
Third of the water,
to the inlet,
So
down by
this
the
is-
Navy Yard.
24th Bay.
goes to 30th.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, ours does, but then there's Bayview.
Yeah, right. Ours, East Beach goes to 30th, then beyond that, there's called Bayview.
Is that
Yeah.
the same type of newer houses? And all?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
This might be a good place for me to pause and take a little break. I'll be back in a bit.